Today I'm doing a one-day build of a Homelander statue. I'm also going to be talking about my opinions on the boys, particularly on the character of Homelander. Let's call this a one-day build and chill. I already did an Iron Man statue to test out the rub and buff I bought. The package came with 4 varieties of rub and buff, and I figured why not test out. The Iron Man bust was coated in silver leaf. I'm using the gold version because a gold statue is something I think Homelander would want, or more likely would threaten someone into doing. I 3D printed this model, originally taken from 3D cults and designed by Dirty Burger. Took about 8 hours to print and about an hour to clean. My print settings were taken from 3D Printing Pro. I just used the heavy support settings. The settings are arguably the best I've seen for resin printing, though I do have an issue with the light and medium settings. I haven't quite worked out my resin printing workflow yet. After cleaning and curing it, I soaked some paint cans in hot water and used this paint can mixing tool to mix it. It's very much worth the money in my opinion. It makes it a lot easier to mix paint. Then I used the duplicate automotive primer. Got to go light on it since it's filler primer. After that dried, I coated it with black paint with the same light touch. This is all resin printed, so no need to go extremely heavy on the paint. After the paint dried, I began to add rub and buff to it lightly. I started to hit the big spots that I don't mind being completely coated, in this case, the bottom of the statue. I went light on layers I want to keep black to add some contrast. Once it's done, you can hit with some varnish, although I didn't do that here. Here are some of my thoughts on the show. I've never really read the comic for this series, but the show is good. It does a good job of making the extraordinary normal. The way Quickby's earlier work, Supernatural, did this with its depiction of supernatural beings. It feels like the characters work without the fantastical elements because it's all character driven. While I could go on for hours about how the characters like A-Train is like an over-the-hill athlete trying to find a new thing to do with his life, or how Starlight is like the idealistic youngster trying to change the system from within, while Maeve is the old cynical, jaded version of her, I'm going to focus on Homelander. Homelander is the most powerful being on the planet with the possible exception of his son Ryan. Arguably invincible and able to do as he pleases. He's akin to a wildly rich man. No one can or will say no to him. Those who hate him can't really do anything. Those who fear him do as he wants. If you're someone like Madeline Stillwell, and to a lesser extent Stormfront, you can let that fear drive you into trying to manipulate him into doing what you want so you can survive or advance your goals into getting more power. Yet much like the rich man can't buy his way into love, he can't superpower his way into love. You see how he has this desperation for attention and approval. The way he's clearly looking for approval from Stan Edgar, even though he's basically beaten Edgar at his own game by taking away Vought from him. How in the mirror scene, Homelander appears to be talking to another personality. You just see a man trying to live up to this facade of the strong and talking himself out of being human, even though at the cost of all the love and approval he wants. How he's so shaken when Soldier Boy has given him what appears to be the first bruise of his life. For the first time in his life, he might have met someone who could beat him. Most of us have had a moment when we met someone who is better than us at something we've always been the best at. For some people it's sports, others it's going from high school to college studies, where they actually have to start putting in some real work. It's these moments, in my opinion, that make him so compelling. He isn't just a cartoon villain, he's an evil man who is still a man. And here's the finished statue for you to look at.